Alright lads, welcome back to another video. Today we'll take a look at the AFT-09. This is a Chinese light tank or tank destroyer located in the 6th rank of obviously the Chinese tech tree. It's currently widely regarded as an annoying little bugger that runs around the battlefield killing people with 4 of its incredibly powerful anti-tank missiles. With its battle rating of only 8.7, it's led to quite a lot of complaints about it being severely under-tiered, as its missiles are just as powerful as the BMP-2M's missiles at battle rating 9.3. Although unlike that tank, these missiles are SAKO guided, not laser beam riding, so you will have to stop the vehicle in order to fire them. But to unlock this tank, you're going to have to grind out 220,000 RP points before unlocking it for the cost of 590,000 Silver Lions. While this is quite a big investment, especially for such a, well, it's basically a support vehicle rather than a main battle tank, I personally do use this as a firstborn vehicle as I believe it is that good. With its high top speed and pretty low profile, as well as the ability to fire your missiles from behind cover, the AFT in my opinion is one of the best annoying vehicles in the game. It's so much fun to play. But anyway, is it worth you grinding it? Or is it just another Chinese knockoff? Well, if you'd like to know the answer to that question lads, stick around for the rest of the video. Alright lads, welcome back. As always, going to start with the engine and mobility, and the AFT is powered by an engine producing 290 horsepower. However, as you can imagine, the AFT is a lot lighter than most main battle tanks by quite a considerable margin. At only 13.8 tons, it is pretty nimble to be honest, coming in with a power to weight ratio of 21 horsepower per tons. This tank, not really a tank I guess, this 4-wheeled chassis with missiles bolted and welded onto the top of it, gets around the battlefield basically like a dirt cross bike. Maybe not that fast to be honest, it's a little bit of an over exaggeration. It is very fast though, you can get to very good positions at the start of the game incredibly quickly, and that is probably one of the main reasons that people despise this vehicle. It's got such good missiles, which we'll get onto shortly, as well as it just such good mobility. You can really get into advantageous positions, and really put the vehicle to work. The top speed as well is also very good, with a forward top speed of 96 km per hour. Again, with that good acceleration, you really can't complain. However, the reverse speed of 9 km per hour is a little bit of a letdown, but it is Chinese, and the Chinese don't really know what having a reverse gear is, kind of like the Russians actually. So we're going to have to live with that 9 km per hour in reverse speed. To be honest, you aren't really going to get the chance to retreat. If you get spotted in this vehicle, you're pretty much dead anyway, mainly due to the survivability of the vehicle. If we take a look at this cutaway, we can see that we've got a crew of 4 men with a driver and an assistant driver, I presume, at the very front of the vehicle. We've also got a loader in the middle of the vehicle, as well as our gunner at the rear. I'm sure it'll come as no surprise to you guys that this tank basically has no armor whatsoever. It's basically just bulletproof against 12.7mm rounds, and anything larger than that is just going to go straight through you. It's a little bit of a downside, but to be honest, I'd rather have no armor and have that high top speed, which makes this tank so good. Anyway, if we take a look at the armor thickness itself, and our lower frontal plate is around 20mm thick, not really that good to be honest, and the upper frontal plate is actually weaker at 12mm thick. But if we take a look at our protection map against the 50 cal APIT rounds from most American tanks, we can see that from the front of the vehicle, it is kind of proof against 50 cals. Mainly around the driver's hatches, there are some weak spots though, so you may just get away with it. But if we take a look at the side of the vehicle with the same 50 cal rounds, we can see that you can basically just get peppered to shit really. So what I'm trying to say is this tank really is very not survivable if you get exposed. Anything with 50 cals and above can go straight through you. The biggest threat to you is going to be the autocannon firing things like the Puma and the BMPs. They'll just rip you to shreds. Your crew, while sat quite far away from each other, are basically in a line, which makes it very easy for you to get one-shot killed as well. Also, CAS, near misses from rockets are going to kill you with overpressure as well as artillery. You are kind of vulnerable in this vehicle, so try and stay out of cover. As I said, it's quite easy to do in this vehicle because it is so fast, quite small profile, and you can just zip in and out of cover, moving from position to position. But the thing that makes this tank so powerful, the HJ9 ATGMs. We have a total of 12 of these missiles, but we can only carry 4 in the tubes, I guess. So you have a first stage ready rack of 4. After you fire all 4 of these missiles, it's going to take 15 seconds to reload. There's no way to interrupt this reload if you need to like shoot at someone. So once you fire all 4, you basically have to wait that 15-second reload. These missile tubes are fully stabilized, which would be good on pretty much any other tank, but because you have to stop this vehicle completely in order to fire the missiles, the gun stabilizer isn't really that helpful, to be honest. What is helpful though is our vertical guidance characteristic, sorry. We have 10 degrees of gun elevation as well as 10 degrees of gun depression. And because of the location of your missile launchers quite high up on the vehicle, we can basically get ourselves behind a hill or behind some cover and basically shoot over objects, allowing us to stay relatively safe from return fire. Again, along with the mobility, this is one of the biggest strengths of the AFT. What about the missile itself? Well, this is the HJ9. It is a tandem charge warhead, meaning it will defeat explosive reactive armor. Not many NATO tanks have ERA, but a lot of these Soviet tanks do, so if you ever go in like a civil war scenario, you will be able to pepper Chinese and Russian tanks alike. This missile moves incredibly quickly for a vehicle-launched anti-tank missile, traveling at 500 meters per second. It's faster than Hellfires, so if you get into a duel with a Apache, it could in theory win. Anyway, the very fast flight time makes it very easy to use at longer ranges. It gives the enemy a very short amount of time in order to react or to try to dodge this incoming missile. So it is a very good sniping missile carrier. It is SAKO guarded, and it does have a range of 5.5 kilometers. Not the longest missile in the game, might be an issue if you are trying to shoot down helicopters, but that is quite a niche secondary role. On most maps, 5.5 kilometers is easily enough to shoot any tank at pretty much any distance, apart from maybe some of the larger simulator maps. Anyway, it can penetrate 1200 millimeters of armor. Again, very strong missile. It'll go through the front of most turrets of most main battle tanks, especially if you get a weak spot. While most main battle tanks have explosive, not ERA, they have NERA, non-explosive reactive armor, so composite armor. 1200 millimeters is probably going to be enough to go through quite a lot of them. Maybe not some of the more modern tanks like the SEP or the 2A6, but certainly you are going to punch through stuff like the Type 10 and the Challenger 2s. We do also have 4 kilos of TNT filler. This gives the missile both good penetration as well as post-pen damage, making these missiles incredibly lethal. The tank also has thermal imaging, 2nd generation thermals, I believe. Again, this just makes it an incredibly good vehicle. It's got such good multi-role capabilities. It's super fast, which aids you in getting to a good position at the start of the game. You can also use it as a scout vehicle. You don't have the scouting ability, but if you're playing in a group of friends or if you want to ping the map for your teammates, you can use this vehicle in that role as well. Kind of like scouting in World of Tanks, where you kind of just stay passive and then strike when it is very advantageous for you to do so. Anyway though lads, I think you can tell from my tone in this video that I do actually really enjoy the AFT-09. I would definitely recommend getting this vehicle. The Chinese tech tree is very underrated in War Thunder. People see it as kind of just a knockoff Russian tree. And while the tech tree isn't as good, well, the Chinese top tier lineup isn't as good as the Russian one, it's not that far behind, to be honest. The main battle tanks are pretty good. I actually use this tank, albeit that its battle rating is 8.7. I use this in my 11.0 Chinese lineup. The 1200mm pen missiles are just as good at top tier as they are at 8.7. In reality, this thing could go up to 9.3 with no problem and still be very powerful. So if you are serious about playing China and you want to get the Chinese top tier, I'd recommend this purely just as a backup vehicle. It is that good. And the fact that this tank is so fun to play is just an added bonus. Again, I would definitely recommend this vehicle, or tank destroyer, I don't know which one it's called particularly. It's super fun, it annoys people, and it's probably one of the best vehicles tier for tier in the game. Anyway lads, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know I've been a bit over the place. My speech is getting a little bit worse. I have a little bit of a problem with my speech. I'm sure you can tell I stumble quite a lot. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you did like it, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing, as well as leaving a comment saying what vehicle you would like to see reviewed next. And as always, a big thank you to my YouTube members. You really are helping the channel grow. And as always, thank you very much for watching.